Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our final part of this fabulous evening, and it just gets more and more magical. We're going to have, in just a few short moments, some of the absolute legends of rugby league up on this stage. I know a lot of you have taken the chance tonight to take some selfies, some photographs, and to get some autographs as well. And there's going to be a great collective photograph to be had very shortly. Well, before we bring the three inductees onto stage tonight, you will have noticed there are four current Hall of Fame members with us this evening. And we'd like to invite all four of them up onto stage to take a seat here so that we can all reflect on their past glories and maybe have a word with one or two of them as well. Please welcome onto stage, my very great pleasure to introduce Billy Boston MBE. Stay on your feet for another great. Neil Fox MBE. Malcolm Reilly OBE. And Gary Schofield OBE. Wow, feast your eyes on these four. What a fantastic collection of players we've got there. Our first inductee tonight is a legend, as they all are. It's Andy Gregory. There are no secrets here tonight. We're going to get him on stage in just a second, but what made the mini magician such a special player? Have a look at your screens. Well done, Andy. I think Gary's got your medal. Andy, come and have a word. Fantastic. I mean, so many titles, so many honours, so many great moments in your career. Impossible to talk about them all, but 9 Wembley finals, 8 times a winner, once as a draw. 6 Ashes Test series and twice Lance Todd Trophy winner. Is there an accolade that stands out above them all?
There's not really. I'm in 6 Ashes series, and I know Alex Murphy's and Boston, you know, they won the Ashes, and that's what I wanted to win, and I gave it 100%. But this award means so much to me, but I'll answer your question, but I just want to thank some people who stood by me through ups and downs and highs and lows, and I can assure you, my mum's there, my wife's there, and there has been some ups and downs and highs and lows. But I'd like to thank my wife, my mum. It's a pity my granddad can't be here, because he followed me all the way through when I was a kid. My younger brother Bryn, and I fetched a special person along. He was my school teacher at Welling Middle School, and he followed me all the way through when I never got picked for Wigan Schoolboys, never got picked for Lancashire, never got picked for England, and he's always been a close friend of the family. And my mum rang him and said I'd been inducted in the Rugby League Hall of Fame, and Andrew said that you're coming. So I'd like to thank Derrick Birchall for everything he's done for me. But club level, I won almost everything, and but I played with good players and I played with good coaches, and we had a laugh along the way, but we did take it serious at times. But I would say my Great Britain highlights, that's what I've just got inducted to. I'd say 1988, when we beat Australia, and you've just seen the tries what I made for Martin Afire, and especially Mike Gregory's one, God rest his soul. And I can assure you, if that was the other way around and Mike Gregory run 10 yards and passed the ball to Andy Gregory, that try would never have been scored, because I would never run 80 yards. But to beat Australia in their own backyard is tremendous. And then when we beat them at Wembley in 1990, but for this as a family, especially sat at side of my mum, who brought 3 lads up, and I know how proud she is, and my wife Nicola, my brother, and my teacher. I don't think I've won a lot, but this is the biggest accolade I could ever win, and I can't thank Rugby League Cares enough, and the RFL, and people who supported me all the way through. And I've got some great work colleagues there in Peter and Tony, Alison, and I just lucky in life to get a chance, and I'm going to take it. But this just puts the icing on the cake for me. You can't get any better honour than this. Thank you very much to everybody.
Brilliant. Andy, stay with us. Andy, stay with us, because you're now a Hall of Fame member, and we've got some new Hall of Fame members to greet as well. Andy Gregory. Right, our second inductee to the Hall of Fame, Derrick "Rocky" Turner. Let's just remind ourselves of the special qualities that Derrick Turner had. It's a tough game then, wasn't it? They didn't always need a ball, but he was good with ball in hand as well. As you know, Derrick sadly passed away a few years ago, but we're really pleased that we're going to be joined on stage by his brother Keith and his niece Janet Quinn. Please give them a big warm round of applause. Well, it's great you're with us, and we're honouring your brother here tonight.
Yes.
What are your recollections of Derrick?
Oh, some great memories of him, like, you know, great player. Although I say it myself, although I'm his brother, fine fella. Yeah, shame about him, like, you know.
He was a tough character, wasn't he?
It was, yeah. Not much about him, like, but he wasn't, but could hold his own, like, you know, yeah.
Was he always going to be a rugby league player from being a little lad?
Oh, yeah. Just a local place, but what they call Bourne Lane, like, he started there, went to Wassett, finished up Old Kingston Rovers, Oldham, and then back to his home team, when he should have been there years and years before. But he wasn't good enough by all accounts when he were younger, like. But yes, he wasn't so bad.
We've got one or two Oldham fans in here who were telling me that I had to say that's where he made his reputation, wasn't it? People remember him as a Wakefield player, but it was at Oldham where he really began to make his reputation.
Oldham were a very good team. But I don't think, if I'm right, I don't think they've ever been to Wembley. No, Oldham, like. But they're a good team when Derrick was there, like, you know, one or two decent forwards, like, you know. And odd one or two come to John Etty, come to Wakefield, Don Vines and that, like, you know, yeah.
And Derrick did go to Wembley because he was 3 times at Wembley, wasn't he, with Wakefield?
He's had it for 1960, 1962 and 1963. I think he was the first captain to receive the Widow's Medal three times, like. Yeah. But it's been done since, like, you know, yeah.
And Janet, family memories. Oh, you don't want to talk? Yeah, so I was going to ask you about the Great Hollywood Story. You know the Great Hollywood Story? This Sporting Life, you must know the Great Hollywood Story. Because he knocked out Richard Harris, didn't he?
So, he did do, yeah. Do you know, when I watched that at Bellevue, like, you know, and I thought it was a proper match. I
think Richard Harris thought it was a proper match.
I couldn't believe it, like, you know. No.
Because the story was that Richard Harris wanted it to be genuine, and he put his head in the pack, and he didn't come out.
No, that's right, yeah.
Brilliant. What would he think of this today?
Well, I don't know. He didn't seem to mix a lot, like, you know. He didn't go to any of these, like, do's at all, like, you know. Seemed to keep himself to himself and his wife and son, like, you know. He didn't mix. I think this myself, this tonight, this Hall of Fame job, I think he ought to have had it years since. Yeah. More or less same time as Neil Fox, like, you know. But he didn't mix with people, so I think that's why he didn't get it.
Well, I'm glad you've mixed, and I'm glad you're both here tonight. Please stay with us on stage. We'll put your hands together, please. Memory of the great Derrick Rocky Turner. Right, we go from Rocky Turner to Gentleman John. Please, let's have a look at what makes Johnny Whiteley such a special new member of the Rugby League Hall of Fame. Please put your hands together for the great Johnny Whiteley MBE.
Malcolm's got your medal, I think.
Fantastic. Johnny, let's have a quick word. One clubman all those years, weren't you, as a player? 1950 when you signed for Hull. Was it always going to be Hull that you'd signed for?
Oh, very much so. Even from being born, it was black and white. But, you know, I'm real proud of two records. I signed coming out of the army, and they said, if you sign, we'll put you in the first team. So I signed a contract for life for nothing. So I signed professional for nothing. And they said, we'll put you in the first team on Saturday, and they put me in the first team on the Saturday, and I was never dropped in 15 years, so I'm quite proud of that.
Quite right, too. And a test record to be proud of as well, because you won an Ashes series. There's not many people who can say that now, is there, as Englishmen, that they've won an Ashes series as a player, but as a coach as well.
Yes, I did the double. I had some wonderful players around me, you know, to receive this is absolutely magnificent. But rugby league is a team game. Like tonight, so many wonderful people. And I've been associated with most of the people here, so I'm really proud that they've stayed friends and companions, really. And to receive this honour, I'm only the leader, as you know, I've been captain for so many years. I just received this on behalf of so many quality players and wonderful players. And it's been my privilege to have played and been involved with all these players on this stage. So I'm more than privileged, if you follow, to have them as friends as well. You know, we've stayed friends for many, many years. So this game has given me everything. You know, people become apprentices at something, you know, doctors, solicitors, lawyers. I became an apprentice of rugby league, and I've stayed with that all my life, and it's opened many doors for me, you know, being a Ezel Road boy and a fish stock lad off Ezel Road. I like to think that, you know, lads of that status can stand here someday and receive a top honour. And I just hope that when I get back to Hull and show this off, you know, that other youngsters, you know, say, well, I'm going to emulate Johnny Whiteley. And that's what I try to do to this day.
Is there a memory? Is there a colleague? Is there a moment that stands out above all of them?
Well, I've had so many, you know, in all fairness. You know, I go back to the great Jim Sullivan. He was my very first coach. And because I was always interested in the physicality of the game and the physical side of rugby league, I got on wonderfully well with Jim Sullivan. And he said to me, he said, Johnny Whiteley, he said, if you ever become a coach and you tell a lad 1,000,000 times what to do, he says, and he doesn't do it, start on the second 1,000,000. And all the lads in my gym still go along with that theory, that we started on the second 1,000,000, Ollie. So, you know, right along the line, I met somebody who's contributed and given me, you know, the honour to receive this award.
Congratulations, well done. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Whiteley. Just before we let them go off stage, one man in the Hall of Fame links these three together, and it is, of course, Malcolm Reilly. So just to get a little bit of a perspective on each of the three who have been your coach or you have coached down the years. First of all, Andy Gregory. What's your memory of Andy Gregory?
Oh, Greg was, he was also a great sense of humour, always laughing, joking, but once he went on the field, once he crossed that white line, his personality changed, and he was an outstanding player, incredibly gifted. He's won 2 Lansdowne trophies, 88 and 90. He's got 9 Wembley winners' medals. Look, he was an integral part of the Great Britain side. Obviously, he played extremely well for Wigan, but he was difficult to handle on the field, you know, period. And I was so proud to have been able to coach him.
Derrick Turner was your coach at Castleford?
Derrick was, yeah. He used to frighten me to death, honestly. He did. he used to follow me to the toilet or the physio room and pin me against the side of the wall, and he used to, in no uncertain terms, tell me who I should be intimidating on the field. And you know, I mean, it was more like an assassination. Like, you know, I had to do these things, but you know, what it made me really mentally tough, because I did my homework on a lot of guys, and when I went down to play in Sydney, I had to. That came in really good because they didn't like pommies, and sort of, you know, I just carried on with my job and did it. But Derrick had a huge influence on me, very tough player.
And Johnny Whiteley, who was your coach at international level.
Yeah, John was great. Where Derrick told me, you know, to the intimidation parts of the game, John sort of introduced a lot of structure in the game, offensive qualities, and he was a great man manager, and an inspiration to the other players. When we came down and first landed in Darwin, coming down the east coast of Australia, he used to knock on my door at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we'd go for a 5 or 6 mile run. And it started with just 2 or 3 players, and eventually there was like 2/3 of the side used to get up at that time and do additional training. He was a great motivator, and I'm pretty sure that if it hadn't been for him on tour, I mean, that's the last time we won a series against Australia. 48 years is a long time, you know, but it was down to Johnny Whiteley, I can assure you.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, these characters, these gentlemen, these legends have given us some fantastic stories. We've not all been lucky enough to see them all play, but we've seen the footage, we've read the stories, and we have seen some of them play to the very highest level of the game. They've given us so much pleasure down the years. Please all stand and give them a huge round of applause, our Hall of Fame members.